game, the difference in the two games was Trevor Lawrence and his ability to run the football. Obviously, that was, something that you guys wanted to do. Just your thoughts on that and how much of a difference that did make in kind of opening things up.
Right. I think, first and foremost, before I say anything, man, I just got to give a shout out to the offensive staff. Really, really challenged ourselves to make sure that we put together a game plan that gave these young men an opportunity to be successful. And, I'm standing before you today as the offensive coordinator, but, man, it's a group of men in that room that work tirelessly to sacrifice some of their own desires to make sure that we put together a plan. So I thought the staff did a great job. And, obviously I can see why he would say that because Trevor was a difference, but I thought it started in the trenches. Our offensive line is probably the most scrutinized position on the team. Even when they play well, they get questioned, and there's always something that you can nitpick. And, we didn't rush the ball well last time. And in particular, we felt like we didn't play well in the interior three. And so really, really challenge those guys, to come out and set the tempo. And yes, we had to be a little bit creative and, alter some schemes just to make sure that we created some angles and some numbers. But I thought the reason we ran the football was because those guys in the trenches. And yes, Trevor had 90 yards rushing, but Travis had, 10 for 124. And so I thought we were effective. We had over 200 yards rushing. So it was a complete effort. But yes, when you do have to prepare for a quarterback that creates an extra hat problem for you, it can pose some problems.
Coach Joe Gorcho, WIS, congrats on the win tonight. What type of statement do you think Clemson made on this stage, given the fact that you lost to Notre Dame earlier in the year and obviously your playoff hopes were hanging in the balance with the outcome of this game?
Well, I think that for us it was more important to make sure that we made a statement for the ACC. This is our league. That's our first goal. One of our first goals that we set, that we talk about is we got to win the division. But this year there was no division because of the realignment with the pandemic. So the first goal for us was to win the ACC. And so for us, we just wanted to come out and play better. Everybody, accept the challenge and play better. So whatever statement people are going to be able to make, but we knew that if we controlled our own destiny, if we came out and we played well and we found a way to win, that we'd have an opportunity to get into the playoff.
Coach, this is David again. Coach Sweeney said after the game that, the Heisman should attach its name to Trevor Lawrence. Do you agree with that statement based off what you've seen in 3 years and this year as well?
I don't know all the parameters for voting, but I do know this. Trevor Lawrence is the best football player in the country. And I'm a better coach because I'm around him every single day. The way that he challenges, himself and challenges me mentally, gives me the justification to say he's the best player in the country. He lives under a huge microscope. The young man just continues to amaze me by doing things the right way. And then his on-the-field play speaks for itself. So, I don't want to get into all of that. All I know is Trevor Lawrence is the best football player in the country.
Tony, Brad from Clemson SI. Another question about Trevor. These big games and his performances in big games, do you sense anything different about him when he takes on a top 5 type team, or is he just the same guy every single week before a game?
Man, he's the same guy every single week, and obviously games play themselves out a little bit different. There's a lot of strategy involved, and you got to adjust. But Trevor Lawrence has been the same, since the day that I met him, and that's what I appreciate about him. And he's a generational, type of coach, maybe a once in a lifetime type of player. I'm sorry, not coach, but type of player that you get to be around, and I'm just blessed that I've had a chance to come alongside his journey. And as I said, I mean that wholeheartedly. He's made me a better coach because I have to challenge myself to make sure that I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's, as I put in the plan, because he's going to prepare. And I think that's why he's able to play this way in games, because his preparation process doesn't change. He's committed for the Citadel. He's just as much committed for the Citadel as he is for an ACC championship game.
Tony, Larry Williams with TigerIllustrated.com. How hard was it, do you think, for this offensive line, especially over the last 2 weeks, to hear about what happened in South Bend and how they got sort of physically overwhelmed at times in that game?
Right. I think that it obviously, had them fired up and gave them some incentive, but they understood that they didn't play well at times. Now, the game played out a little bit different. We had to throw the ball. I thought they pass protected well. We just didn't get enough efficiency in the running game. So just challenging those guys. And I've said it all along, and people probably may question what I say, but, we're only as good as our offensive line. And when they're playing at their best and being balanced and being able to rush the football and protecting, man, those guys got a hard job. And they lead the way. And so yes, they're highly scrutinized. They didn't play well, in the interior three. the way they wanted to last time in the run game. And so those guys, instead of folding under the pressure, man, they accepted the challenge. They took ownership. They went back and reassessed the things that they need to improve upon. We had a chance to have some time off so guys can get healthy and get to full speed so they can go out and show, what they're capable of.
Tony, this is Matt. At the end of the year, I guess a few years back with Justin and with T before that, you guys kind of let them really start coming out, I guess, late in the year. Is that something you can see happen with EJ the way that he's playing right now?
Yeah, I think EJ, kind of grew up in front of the country's eyes, and we all knew, what he's capable of. Just was a matter of time, finding, getting to a point of comfort to where you understand the entire scheme, and that allows you when you're confident in the scheme and you don't have to think about it, then you go out and you make a play like he did there on third down, and then you're able to make those tough catches across the middle when you know there's contact coming, and then you make a catch and you have yards after the catch, you score a touchdown. So, man, EJ is about all the right things, very comparable to a Justin Ross from a skill set, but he loves to complete, he loves to play, and just really, really happy for EJ.
Tony, it's Andrea Adelson with ESPN. I'm sorry if you were asked this already. I just came on. But is there anything more that Trevor could possibly do to convince folks that he deserves consideration for the Heisman? Forget the stats, just the fact that he's the best player in the country.
I don't know what else he could do. I talked about to the team, he sacrificed himself back there in August, when he, in his position, under a lot of scrutiny, came out and kind of exposed himself and said, hey, we want to play, and we'll do whatever it takes, and kind of put himself in a position where he had some support, but then he had some opposition. And so that just shows the kind of character that he has. Then he comes back and he plays, through a pandemic. Man, it's tough with, hats off to every team that fought through and played. And, all those guys are champions in my mind if anybody finished the season. Because, man, it was hard for these young people. I mean, they had to sacrifice so much. And being the leader of our team, the best player in the country with all the scrutiny, I don't think there's anything else that the young man needs to say. And Coach made a great statement, post game there. And all I'll say is in my mind, without a shadow of a doubt, Trevor Lawrence is the best player in the country.
Tony, as a follow-up to that, do you feel like Trevor is maybe taken for granted outside of Clemson? Because people have seen what he has done since his freshman year. And it's almost like, well, yeah, of course we expect Trevor to do that. So perhaps performances at other teams are more eye-opening than what Trevor has done this year, if that makes sense.
I understand the perspective that you're coming from, and there could be some validity to that. And all I know is Trevor has won. He's the winningest quarterback in school history. He's now been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. He's won 3 ACC titles. He's an unbelievable leader. But the best thing about Trevor Lawrence that maybe he doesn't get credit for is the type of young man that he is. I mean, he is an unbelievable young man, extremely high character. He's all about his team. He could care less about the award. He just wants to get the team accolades and help his team win. And that's special for a young man to have been under the scrutiny that he's been under since he was in high school, to win at the level that he's won and to never change, to actually, challenge himself to improve as a person. I mean, I think in my opinion, that embodies what the Heisman is all about. Yes, you got to be the best player, but you also want to be the ideal standard of what a college football player should be about off the field. And Trevor fits. He checks both boxes, on the field play and off the field.
Tony, this is Matt again. That play where y'all faked I guess it was the pass that Travis that looked kind of similar to the Ohio State game, and then dumped it off to Braden. Could you take me through that play, and was that something that y'all were trying to set up?
Got to be fair. Like to give credit where credit was due. That was a screen that type of screen that Virginia Tech ran against us, against our defense. So we're always looking for ways to improve, to show some things, and we thought we had an opportunity because last game, if you remember, up in South Bend, we hit Travis on a similar route down the middle of the field, and so we said, hey, maybe they'll take the bait and see can we get a screen off of it, and they didn't quite rush off the edge like I wanted them to. We were hoping that the end was going to stay wide and we could have kicked them out a little bit and threw that screen back up under inside. But again, Trevor made a great job of adjusting, found a way, even though it wasn't blocked as well as we wanted it to be, found a way to get the ball to Braden, and he did the rest. So it was an opportunity where we had something similar in the first game, and we wanted to show that presentation. And so we saw the idea that Virginia Tech had, and we thought it was a good compliment to what we were doing, so we went with it.
with Frank, how close is he to being back to where he's comfortable playing a full game and being a guy you can really count on?
I'm anxious to ask Grish because, again, when I saw him in warm-ups, I thought he was flying around. And as the week went on in practice, he progressed. You could tell he was becoming more confident. His wind was coming back. And so I think that he's close. Again, I don't know from a rotation standpoint. I didn't hear anything on the headset in terms of that he was hurting. All right, but at the same time, too, when guys are hot, when Cornell's making plays, when EJ's making plays, and when Amari's making plays, you like to continue to feed those guys who have the hot hand.
Quicker if you do this one. Swear.
And I'm sorry if you had already been asked this, Tony, but there was a report about you interviewing at Auburn. Just what was your reaction to that, and is that something that you're looking to do or interested in doing?
I was actually upset, and again, I understand it comes with the territory. I know that there's a lot of talk about me, and hopefully I've proven my loyalty to Clemson over the years, and I don't like to entertain those things during the season. And I made a statement to our players, and I think Ross may have put a statement out. First and foremost, Auburn, I think, is a great university, very, very similar to Clemson, an unbelievable place to go coach. But at the time, I have not been contacted. I haven't talked to anybody at Auburn. And so for there to be a report that I was interviewing tomorrow, man, that's unfair to these kids in this locker room. That's unfair to the staff for them to be questioning, okay, what is he focused for this game? Is he doing things that he said that he doesn't do? And so I made a statement to those guys and just wanted to be out there. Nothing in regard. And they may be planning to call, to tonight or tomorrow. But up to this point with that report, man, I was a little bit, upset and perturbed because now Coach Sweeney, the guys in that locker room, the staff, the players, they have, some kind of question in their mind. And so I made a statement to our players, and I believe Ross may have put something out there. But I don't have any plan to interview tomorrow per the report because I haven't been contacted by Auburn.
If they called, would you be interested in considering?
That's something that I would have to, just as there's been several people that call, and my process is they ask me if I have interest. I say, look, I got to talk about it with my wife. I got to pray about it and look for confirmation because I've said it before, say it again. Money doesn't matter to me. Status doesn't matter to me. I believe that I'm living a purpose-filled life, and my purpose is to be here at Clemson right now. And when the Lord opens the door, then I'll transition. But from what I know about Auburn, obviously they played an unbelievable conference. They've had success. They won a national championship. They have a similar setup to Clemson. So there would be some things that would be intriguing. But to say that I would go forward with an interview right now, I'd have to pray about it, talk about it with my wife. There's more factors involved than what some other people may make their decision on.
Tony, I think you said a couple years ago you didn't have an agent, or the last time we'd asked you, do you have an agent at
I've been going through the process. I haven't officially, signed any paperwork. I'm kind of honing in on some individuals that are up in my top pick of guys, man. But that's something that I'm not real comfortable with that. That's not me. That's not how I progress in this. So I'm trying to weed through it. I have an idea of who I want to go with, but I haven't officially signed any paperwork. And a lot of the other transactions that have taken place in terms of interest, it's always come, through a search firm reaching out directly to me to see if I have interest.
Tony,
Leo Haggerty with Sports Magazine. 2 quick questions.
Yes,
It's
sir.
a whole different dynamic calling plays with 16 under center, and he's the Heisman Trophy winner hands down, isn't he?
Well, that's to be determined. I would hope that he's done enough, not just this year, but over his career to qualify as the best player in the country. But he makes me a better coach because he can make me right and put a lot on his plate. This game plan gave him some more freedom. There were some things that we needed him to see on the field and check on his own. And I thought he did an unbelievable job of handling that check process. And he just continues to ask for more responsibility, and we continue to give it to him. But when he can make the right reads, make all the throws, and then he has the ability to keep people honest in the run game, hopefully that qualifies for the Heisman. But that'll be determined down the road.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Coach Elliott? All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Tony.